So what we're going to do is I'm going to welcome everybody first. I'm going to say hi, guys. My name is Miss Carla. I will be teaching us the Scratch. Also at this time, I do want to give a shout out to Clarusway for allowing us to be learning Scratch. Okay, so I'm going to give claps to them. Thank you guys for allowing us to teach this. All right. And we are going to begin. Okay. All right. So introduction, here we go. What is Scratch? Okay. Scratch is a program language and online community which helps to create our own interact stories, games, and animations and share our creations with others around the world. All right. So guys, what you're looking at over here, if you're looking at my mouse, this is an example of what our codes are going to be kind of looking like. Okay. We're going to be using a lot of these different options. Now, when you are to go onto your program, when we go on it, you are going to notice that everything is color coordinated. That way, it's a lot easier for you guys to be able to know where those options are, okay? So you're able to find that. But once we get a hang of it this week, you guys are going to be able to say, oh, I already know where that is before you're even doing that, okay? Also, this little cat is also known as a sprite, okay? That is just a big word that they use for a character, okay? So if I use that word sprite, you guys already know that it is going to be known for Scratch as a character. All right, so here we go. So this is for us to be able to get us started, okay? So what we're gonna do is we are gonna use that website, like I said before, the beginning of class, we are gonna be using that website, scratch.mit.edu, okay? And this is going to be the information where you guys are going to be able to make your projects, okay? Now, if you guys are looking at this webpage, when you are on that website, there is a little option where it says Join Scratch. You are going to click that button, okay? You're going to be able to fill out the information that it's going to ask you. Now, also, one thing to remember, guys, you do need to save this information. So if you do use your mom or dad's email, you need to remember that email for the future, okay, once we are using that, as well as a set password, okay? So that is going to be very, very important because you guys are going to be able to use this throughout the week. So when we store our projects, you're able to go back to it at another time, okay? So please, please, please make sure you are writing that down, all right? So that is going to be the website. So at this time, make sure you are starting to create your own account, okay? Now I'm gonna show you what mine looks like, okay? So once you have an account, okay, I already have my username, okay, and I also have it. So once everybody has that information, when we are going to go on it, you are always gonna go to that section where it says sign in. That is going to be for the future. Now, you're not going to do that yet if you do not have an account, okay? You're only going to be able to go there if you have your account. So I'm already logged into my account. Now, future, if I want to do it, you are going to be hitting the button create, okay? And it's going to load for you guys to be able to see. Now, this is what your projects are going to be looking like when we are going to be doing our projects throughout the week. So we are going to be learning about the different movements on here, okay? This today is going to be a little bit boring because you're going to be learning all the different parts, but I'm telling you today's project, you are going to really, really enjoy it, okay? Today's project, we are going to be making a Pac-Man game. So you guys are going to be able to do that as well, and I will be teaching you slow, step by step, how to do it, okay? Now guys, if I am going a little bit fast, okay, please, please, please make sure you are using that hand option as well as the chat if you need me to go back at any time, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. If you guys are still logging in the information, that is fine. All right, so now this is for you guys to be able to learn the different parts, the one that I just showed you, okay? We have our sprite center list. That is going to be the character that you guys are going to be able to choose. Now on the bottom, there is going to be a new sprite, okay? That is going to be the different characters that you're able to choose. So I'm going to show you that right now. Just give me 1 second. All right. So right here, as you guys can see, I have my sprite as a cat. Now, if I don't want to use that cat, that is fine. I'm going to be able to show you how you're able to change that. On the bottom, there is going to be a section where it says choose a sprite. you are going to be able to click that, and these are going to be all the different options for you guys to be able to choose whatever you want. Now, the ones that they like to use the most in here, guys, is that fantasy ones. They use Nano, Pico, Terra. All those are the ones that are known as the popular ones, but you guys are more than welcome to use different ones throughout your projects, okay? Now, if you do not want to use that cat, you would be able to use the X, which is the little garbage can, and it would be able to delete your sprite, and you would be able to use a different one, okay? But if you do not delete it, it is always going to be in your game, okay? There is also another option, okay? All right, so also we have our stage option. Now your stage option is going to be the background, okay? That is going to be the different backgrounds. Now there is an option where you guys are going to be able to paint your background, and as well as put a background maybe from Google image, or you also are going to be able to place it from a different option, okay? So you should be able to do it from different options. Now, also, our code blocks are very, very important, okay? Now, I'm going to show you the code blocks. Just give me 1 second. Here we go. Now, these code blocks are very, very important, okay? Because those are going to be the ones that we are going to be using. Now, one thing to keep in mind, guys, is using Scratch, okay? It is using codes, okay, which is known as coding. Now, everything is going to fit like a puzzle, okay? Everything is going to fit like a puzzle. Now, when you are going to be always starting a project, you are going to be using an events, okay? This click button is going to be a very important one, okay? We also are going to be able to click this. Now, if you guys notice, if I'm using 2 of these pieces, do you guys see how these pieces do not fit? So you know you would not be able to use both of those pieces. What you would have to do is you can do something like this, for instance. I'm going to show you this one just as an example, okay? And once I'm done with that, I have 2 things. You are going to notice that my cat is going to be able to say hello. So I'm going to click it. And there you go. You see that little air bubble for him to be able to see that word hello. Okay, so that is just an example of what a project would kind of look like. All right, so like I said before, our sprites are known as your characters, and there are many different ones for you to be able to use. All right, like I just said, the puzzle pieces are also known as blocks, and our scripts are just the information that you are going to be giving your sprite to be able to do certain things. Okay. Now there is going to be options where you guys are going to be able to use the sounds. You are going to be able to do some variables in there. Also moving buttons, and also a pen option where you guys are going to be able to draw different things. All right. And the bottom is an example of what a full block option would look like. Okay. All right. So also, if you guys are aware, we are going to be using a coordination system, okay, where we have some positive numbers and we also have some negative numbers, and it's going to have its own axes, okay? Basically, it's going to be using movements throughout your projects where you guys are going to be able to see that as well. Now, I'm telling you, it is very, very simple, okay? If you are very good in math, there is going to be different options where you also can use that skill as well, okay? But throughout this class, since this is a basic level for this one, it is going to give us those options. But if you want to be more adding different projects in there as well, you can always use that information to help you as well, okay? All right, and the numbers are going to be ranging from 240 all the way to negative 240, okay? And we also have that is going to be for our y-axis, which is going to be 180 all the way to a negative 180. Now, guys, you do need to make sure you are paying a close attention to those negative and positive numbers when we are using our project, because otherwise your project is going to run into problems, okay? So please make sure you are making sure that you are following those numbers correctly. All right. So right now, these are the different blocks that you guys are going to be able to see. We're going to go through a couple of them just so you're able to see what these options do. And then we will be able to start our big project. Okay. So this part is just going to be for us to go through them. So now in our motion section, these are going to be our options where you guys are going to be able to use your movement. You are going to be able to change the numbers if you guys decide to, okay? And it also is going to have different things where you're going to see that change X and Y. You're also going to be able to set rotations where you're going to be able to see. You're also going to be able to use glide. A lot of these options we are going to be using throughout your project, okay? And it's going to be that dark blue color. All right. Now we also have our looks that is going to be for you to be able to change the costumes of your spritz. Now some of the options that you guys are going to be able to do, like a project that we are going to be doing a simple project, is going to be a dancing project where you are going to be able to change the movements of your sprit. But there are only certain ones that we are going to be able to use for that project, but I will explain that once we learn that, okay? And also you are going to be able to use more than one background throughout your project if you guys decide there. And I'm going to show you that as well. Now, another cool option that we do have is our sound section, okay? That is going to be able for you to be able to make a meowing sound if you were to use a cat, okay? But another cool option that we do have when we use that sound, if you guys notice, there are two sound options. There's the one where you use for your code blocks, and there's also one that you use for your sound one. So if we were to click our sound one, there is another option where you guys can record your own voice, okay? What you would do is you would first get rid of that cat sound. You would be able to hit that little microphone and you can record your own sound as well in there. Okay, so that is another cool option where you're able to use that as well. We also have our event section. Like I said, these are going to be very, very important. A lot of times when we do use our projects, we do start with this option. We do use this when flag clicked a lot, okay, to start our project. And we also can use this option right here. This is another favorite button I like to use. This is a when space key press. Now there are different options where you can use an up key, down key, left, okay? Certain letters if you guys want to use that throughout your project. This button is going to be used a lot, okay? This button is going to be used a lot. That is to get more control of your sprit. Okay, you also can include messages that you can see there as well. We also have our control button. Now for your control button, there are different things, okay? You're able to use as well. We can also use waiting buttons. You can also use this forever button. Now, sometimes you might hear me use the word loop, okay? That is just basically just telling you that we are going to be adding more than one piece inside your codes, okay? We also have our sensing, where you're going to be able to change certain things. We might be able to have more control by using our mouse pointer. We also can change different colors. You can ask questions. Those are going to be a lot of pieces that you are going to use. You're going to notice that right now you're probably saying, wow, I don't know if I'm going to be able to remember all that, but you will. Trust me, you will. You're going to get the hang of it. Now, operators are going to be used as well. These pieces are added into some pieces that we used, okay? For instance, if I use this pick random button and I want to add our equal symbol as well in here, you see how I'm able to click those pieces in one another. You would see that it would be highlighted and then you would be able to place that as well inside there. That is going to be an important piece for you guys to be able to remember because that part can get a little bit tricky. That part can get a little bit tricky. We also have our variables, okay, where you guys are able to add more information as well. And sometimes we are going to add a make my block. You will be learning that as well. And then this cool option where it is my block option. We are going to be using this my block option tomorrow, but I'm going to show it to you what it looks like now so you guys are a little bit prepared. When we are using that make option, okay, you would be able to choose, just say for instance, this, okay? And you would be able to use different things as well. Now you can see that this block, it's gonna have a block name, and that you can change the titles as well. You would be able to put that as well in there. We don't need that now, so we should be fine without it. Also, if you go towards the bottom, you're gonna see this button where it is add an extension. If we were to click this, this option is pretty cool because it is going to give you different things that you are going to be using. Now, tomorrow we also are going to be using this pen option where we are going to be able to make a rainbow effect. So this part option is pretty cool on there. There is also making instruments where you can also add that as well into your projects. So these options are different things, and sometimes they use these options with different programs as well. All right, so there you guys did. I went through with the kinds of what they are. Now the PowerPoint is going to go more examples of what you're going to be able to add those pieces in as well, and you're going to be able to see that. Oop, I see a hand raised. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I see 2 hand raises. Just give me 1 second. Let me just find your hand again. Okay, I see your hand. Hi, yes, your hand is raised.
Are we gonna do the same projects we did last time?
Yes, we are, but the thing is, I am going to add some new, because I do recognize you from our last class. Welcome back. Now, I am going to be adding some new projects as well, but that is going to be next week, okay? So I'm gonna go through my projects because I do notice that you are a child that is returning back, but yes, this is going to be some of the same projects that we are, but we will be learning some different ones as well, okay? Okay. All right, guys, so let me continue that. All right, so I'm gonna just go back to our PowerPoint, guys, so you're able to see. Now, like I said, this is going to be a click and drag. Now, you guys, as you could see, what I would do is I would go to my coding section, okay? And I would click what I would want, and then I would be able to drag it over, okay? So from your spritz, I'm sorry, not from your spritz, from your scripts, you are going to be able to click it, use your mouse, and then drag it over, and then you're going to be able to put those pieces in one another. Okay. All right. So like in our event section, like I said, these are going to be color coordinated. Okay, like I said. Now this one looks like it is going to be brown. Now sometimes the colors are a little bit off. Okay, it's not something that you need to worry too much about. Okay, just as long as you're able to find the pieces really fast, that is going to be a lot easier for you to be able to know. Okay, all right. So like I said, also in our motion section, this is going to be our medium color blue, okay? And as you guys can see, it fits together like a puzzle, okay? It does fit together like a puzzle. You're able to put all those pieces in one another. Now we can do a little exercise now just so you guys are able to get a little bit of the hang of it, okay? So I am going to go back to my projects area. If you guys want to do this with me, this would be perfect for you guys just so you're able to see how to go along with it, okay? So I am going to use our cat for this, okay? I am going to be finding my section of events. Now, on our screen, okay, it is going to be a light color, yellow color it kind of looks like, okay? But like I said, our PowerPoint is going to be showing that as a brown color, okay? So what you're gonna do for this is you are gonna use this when clicked button, okay? We also are gonna go to our motion section, and you are gonna use that one that says move 10 steps. Now, if you guys wanna change that number as well, you can change it, or you can keep it the way it is. I'm gonna keep mine to say that, okay? Now I want to be a little bit more fancy with this. So I am going to go to my looks, and I am going to use an option where it says say hello for 2 seconds. Now, if you don't want yours to say hello, you can just say, I'm going to change it to say, my name is Carla, okay? And it's going to be using for 2 seconds. I don't want mine to be 2 seconds. I want mine to be 5 seconds. So I am going to click this all together. Now, as you guys can see, this is a block of different things. You are going to be able to click it, and there you go. It was able to move, and it's also using that message to say, hello, my name is, or whatever you message that you are putting there as well. Okay. So nice and easy on there, just for you guys to be able to get a hang of it. It is a lot easier. As you can see, all those pieces are able to stay in there as well. Okay, you're seeing how they're able to collect. I'm going to get rid of that because we do not need that for this, but I am going to go back to our slides. All right. Now also, this is just basically going through all your different slides, as you can see. Okay, this also has our control. Okay, this is our control, which is going to have your repeat buttons, your forever buttons. Now that is also as a loop where you guys can see that you can put things inside the belly. I always call that a belly as well, that you are going to be able to include those pieces as well in there. All right. Now for our sounds, this is another cool option. This is our pink color, okay? And you're going to be able to include that as well. Now for your looks, okay? It also is that message where you guys are going to be able to put those hello in there as well. All right, so here, we're going to try this one, okay? So let's see if we can do this. This is going to be creating a program, okay, where we're going to be using a sprite. Now, what I want you to do is to challenge yourself, okay? I'm going to want you to challenge yourself. What you're going to be able to do for this is you are going to be going to our option where you are going to be able to use a different character, okay? Okay. So what I want you to do for this is I do want you to use a different character. So what you're going to do for that, let me just move this out of the way. Okay. So I'm going to delete my cat, and I'm going to go towards the bottom where it says choose a sprite. And you're going to be able to choose anything that you want. Okay. I am going to choose an animal for mine. Also, guys, at this time, I am noticing you guys are being very, very with the chats on there. Please, guys, if you guys are going to be doing that and not focusing with the program, I am going to be giving that option where you're not going to be able to use that option. So please, please, please do not abuse that, okay? You do need to make sure you are doing what we are doing with the class. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use that option, okay? Just so you guys are aware. I am able to see all the messages that you are doing, and you're going to have that, okay? All right. So we are going to be able to use a different character. I'm going to use the dog number 2 for my project. All right. So I have my dog, and now for the first thing that it did ask us to do, okay, here we go. So it's going to ask us to use a moving. We're also going to be using a sound, and you're also going to be using the message where it says, welcome to Scratch. Okay, so this is what it's going to look like. So the first one we are going to use is we are going to use that when clicked. We're also going to be using that move button, that play sound, and also a message. All right, so we are going to go to our events. You are going to use that when clicked button. Okay. We are also going to go to our motions. You're going to move that move one. You're going to go to your sound. All right. So guys, as I can see, you're still doing that. All right. So give me a second. Okay. Now we are going to get a sound as well. Now for this one, I am going to do that play sound dog 1. Okay, that is the sound that it chose for my thing as well. Now, if you wanted to change that, you can record yours as well, or you can put something else in there. Okay, so now I have that play sound as well. Now, the last thing they wanted us to do is going to be in our looks, and it is going to be that say hello. Okay, now this one, we are going to be able to change it as well. Like if I clicked mine right now, it is making that dog sound, okay? So I am gonna get rid of that. And I am going to change it to say, welcome to Scratch. And I did do the letters a little bit off. I am gonna change that so it looks even. You can do all capitals, you can do lowercase as well in there, okay? But you are gonna be able to do that as well, okay? So we have that welcome to Scratch. We also have that sound in there, okay? Now I'm gonna show you also how to save your projects before we're able to start. Now my cat, I'm sorry, I used the dog for this one, okay? Now once I have it, there is another cool option where you can go to saving this. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay. We are going to go to a file, save now. Okay. Now, right now my project did save. Okay. Right now, if you guys notice, there is an option where it says your project's name. Okay. It's going to be this blue little space area. You are able to change that to whatever you want. I just wanted you guys to be able to see that option there, but I'm gonna be able to show you. So this one, I'm just gonna say this one to be called Welcome to Scratch, okay? Just so I'm able to know what this project is if I want to go back to this at another time. Now this project is not something that you do need to save. I just want you guys to get into that habit of how to save, because once we do our first project, you are going to need to know how to do that information, okay? So we have that there. So now I changed mine to say welcome to Scratch, and I'm gonna hit that save now. Now I'm going to show you that it did save my project. Once you are done saving that, what you would do to check to make sure that your project did save, you would click your username all the way where my mouse is, all the way towards the edge of the screen. You would be able to click that. You're going to hit that button where it says My Stuff. And these are going to be all the projects that I saved onto my projects, onto my account, so you're able to see it. Now, it does have that welcome to Scratch, so I am going to double check to make sure that it did save, which it totally did because I can see that it's here. I just want to show you that you do have your project here. Okay, now what you would be able to do is you would be able to hit that flag and you could see your project there. Or you can hit this option where it says see inside, where you're able to go back to your coding section and see more information regarding your project, okay? So you're able to see both of those options. All right, so now here we go. We're gonna get ready with our first project. Now for this project, we are gonna be learning how to add a backdrop, okay? You also are going to be using different applicators throughout your project. We are going to be able to do all your information, and then at last you are going to be able to save that project just like we just practiced. All right, so this is going to be that hungry Pac-Man game that you guys are going to be including into your project. So here we go. So your project, all right. So this is what your project is going to do. It's going to be having a food particle, which is going to be just a plain circle. We are going to be using our pac-man option as well, where we are going to be able to draw it. We also are going to be using a dark shade of a background. And we also are going to include a scoreboard as well to keep count of your score. So that's going to be everything that we're going to be adding into your projects. All right. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to be using our food, okay? So what we're going to do for that, I am going to go to a file new for this project, okay? That way we start from scratch. We don't have anything in front of us. Now, once you have a new project in front of you, you are going to get rid of that cat. We do not need our cat for this project, so you are going to delete your cat. So right now we have nothing in your project, okay? You have nothing in your project. So now we are going to get started by doing our drawing option. Now on the bottom, we are going to be hitting that option where it says choose a sprite. Okay. Now you are going to be using the paintbrush option for this. Okay. You are going to click that and you're going to notice that your board is showing us right here.
Can you make multiple different color food?
Yes, you can. Okay. Now, if you want to do that, you would be able to use that as well. But the thing is, you would have to redo the code when we do for that section for each food particle. Okay.
Can I just make one and then just duplicate it and change the color of the other ones?
Yes, you can. That way is a lot easier. Yes. One more hand raise, and then guys, we are going to be able to begin, okay?
So
yes,
I couldn't really see how you did, like, save your first project.
Okay, don't worry about that at all because I am going to show you that towards the end, so don't worry about that. We are going to be able to do that one more time. But thank you for letting me know that you didn't know how to do that because I will go a little bit slower on that part, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys, I do see some more hands being raised on there. I am going to try to continue, okay? And then I will be answering more questions towards the end, okay? Okay. All right, guys, so for this, it's gonna be pretty easy to do this. We are gonna be drawing it. You are gonna be using that circle option. Okay, so I'm gonna teach you guys how to draw this circle option, okay? This one's pretty easy. You are going to be able to use a different color of your choice. Now I'm going to use for mine, I'm going to use yellow, okay? If you guys want to use something else, you can do that as well. So what you're going to do is in this area where it's going to be shaded, you are going to be clicking it and you're going to be able to drag it as much as how big you want it. Now remember, this is going to be a food particle, so I'm going to try to make mine smaller. Once you like the size that you're going to unclick, okay? It is going to be highlighted in blue once it's shown onto your screen. Now you do have the option before that blue area goes away, you can stretch it out to the way that you want, as big as you want it or as small as you want it. You can also put that as well, okay? So for this option, this is a perfect size for me, so I am good with that size, okay? Now remember, you do need to make sure you are in the paintbrush option. Now, one big mistake that you guys can be doing is, now on the bottom, there is going to be another option where it says choose a backdrop. Don't put it in that section. If you are putting it in that section, it is going to be showing only in your backdrop area, okay? You meaning your background. You do need to make sure that it is in your sprite section, okay? You do want to make sure it's in that section, otherwise you're going to run into a problem later on. Once you have the size that you want, I am going to rename mine, okay? Now, where you guys are going to be able to do that, if you are looking up from where your sprite is, you're going to backspace that, and I am going to just rename that to say food, okay? So that way I know that that is going to be my food option. I do see your hand raised. Just give me 1 second. I'm going to allow you. All right. Your hand is raised. Go ahead. So I'm going to continue, guys, with that. So right now we do have our food particle. I am going to go back for a second just so you're able to see as well. The next thing is going to be that hard one that we're going to be doing. Okay. So the next one we are going to be doing is our pac-man. Okay. This is going to be the part where it's going to get a little bit tricky. Okay. So now we have our food. We're also going to need our pac-man. So we're going to go towards the bottom. Now you're going to make a separate sprite for this one. You are going to use that paintbrush option again. Okay. We are going to be using this circle option again, but we're also going to be using an eraser for this. Now guys, if you want to use a different color for your project as well, you can. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. And I'm going to make mine to be the color pink. Okay, so guys, now for this one, I am going to use the color pink for mine. I am also going to be using that circle option. Now I'm going to make this one big. Okay, I am going to make this one big. That is a perfect size. Now, guys, did you see that I actually made a mistake right now that I did add another circle in there? If you were to do that option just like I did, there is a back option or a backdrop that you can go to fix that. You are going to hit that back and just click it, and then it is going to be able to disappear. Okay, so you are going to be including that as well. You can do that. Okay, so guys, what we're working right now is just that where we stopped at. You are going to have that big, large circle. Now I'm going to show you guys how to draw that Pac-Man option. Now, all right, so you're going to use this option where we're going to be able to erase. Now, right now, my eraser is at 40%. I want it to be a little bit bigger, okay? And it's going to be able to erase part of this. Now, what we're going to do is we are going to be making a triangle going out, okay? Well, it's kind of going in and then going out. So I'm going to start from here. We're going to go here. And then I'm going to go out, okay? And all this remaining area that is shaded over here is also going to get deleted as well, okay? And there you go. That is what it's going to look like. Now also, I had other students as well. If you guys want to add an eye in there as well and erase it, you can do that as well. Otherwise, you can just leave it open just like that, or you can add another circle and maybe add this, and you can add an eyeball as well in there, okay? So that is going to be up to you to be able to change it whatever way that you want. Also at that time, I am going to rename this as well. I am going to get rid of that, and I am going to call this Pac-Man, okay? So you have that as well. So right now, you guys should, looking at your screen, you should have your food, okay? And you should have your Pac-Man. So guys, as you guys can see, I did rename that food particle. I did also rename that Pac-Man option as well, okay? Now I see that my backdrop right now is going to be just a plain white screen. I am going to show you guys also how to add a different background, okay? Now, what you're going to do is you are going to be clicking over from that sprite's head. You're going to be clicking that backdrop option, okay? Now, these are all the different backdrop options. Now, for this, I am going to be using a dark type of backdrop, okay? I'm going to try what this Galaxy one looks like, okay? I think the Galaxy one works perfect for me because it is a dark one on there. Now, I also have used just a stars option as well. You guys can clearly use whatever backdrop that you want for that one, okay? But you just need to make sure that you're able to see your pieces as well, okay? Now, guys, when you are clicking on that backdrop option, you might notice that you're going to have a blank one, and then you might have other options as well. Just make sure you are only looking at the backdrop that you are choosing, okay? You don't want blank ones in there as well, because if you are showing some blank ones as well, you're going to run into the problem if we are to code that section, it's going to not work, okay? So you got to make sure there is only one option. So let me guys continue. Now, before we can get any further, I'm just double checking to make sure you guys should have a backdrop, okay? You should have a Pac-Man, and you should have a food option. Now, your food option, you can rename it and change it. I like to do that because when I am focusing on that code directly, I know that it goes with that section, okay? As well as our Pac-Man option. You do not need to do that option, but you can if you choose to. Now, Noelle, I see that, yes, you were here for the last 2 classes. Next week, I am going to go through my projects as well to see if I can add some different ones as well for you, okay? If I find them, I will let you know, okay? Okay, now students, I know some of you guys are returning students from the last sessions that we have been doing, okay? I am going to try to see if I find different projects to include that as well, because I know it is a little bit boring if you already done some of these projects, okay? All right, guys, so we are going to be continuing. We are going to be getting those codes in there as well, guys, and Just make sure at this time, if you guys you need a question on there, please ask now because the difficult part is going to be taking place now. All right, guys, so we are going to be getting to that coding section because we have our pieces all included in there. So I'm just going to go back to our PowerPoint, guys, so you are able to see that. All right, we did all that. We did all that part. All right. So the first part, guys, that we are going to be doing is going to be our pac-man. I just want to make sure. Okay. We are going to be using our pac-man first. Now, I am going to try to do all our pac-mans together, and then we are going to be able to go back to our food. Okay. So we are going to do the pac-man first. So now, one thing you guys need to make sure you're doing at this time, make sure you are clicked on your pac-man and not your food, as well as not being clicked into your backdrop. Now, the way to know that you are in that section is it's going to be highlighted in blue, okay? Now, if I'm clicked right now on my food, that means that it is in the food section and as well as my pac-man. We want to be in our pac-man section for this, okay? So now that I'm clicked onto my food particles there, okay, I am going to go to that code section, okay, and we are going to start. So the first one we are going to need is going to be in our events, and it's going to be that when clicked. Now I'm going to make this bigger, guys, so you're able to see it, okay. You do not need to make yours bigger, okay. I'm just doing mine bigger so you're able to see it a little bit better, okay. So the first one you need is going to be in events, and it is going to be when flags clicked. Once we have that, we are going to be going to our looks. Now you are going to select the one that says set size to 35%. Okay. Now right now it's going to say set size to 100. You're going to click that and you're going to hit that number 35. Now, I like to do it outside of them clicking together. That way I know that it's going to be able to not adjust to it yet, okay? So I included that as well in there, all right? And that is still in that look section. All right, so we have those. Now for the next one, it is going to be in that motion section. It is going to be a pretty simple one. It's going to be go to X and Y. Okay. Like I said, I don't click mine in there yet until I change my numbers. My first number is going to be a positive 165. And your Y is going to be a positive 133. You're going to place that and connect those as well. So once you have that in there, we are going to be going to, again, our look section, and you're going to use the one that says set ghost effect to 0. Now it's going to say set color effect to 0. We're just going to click that down option, and you're going to find the word ghost. And you're going to click those and add those two pieces together. Okay, so you have that set ghost effect to 0, and you have that nice and easy in that look section. Okay, once we have that, you are going to go into our, now let me go over those again, guys. The first one that when clicked is going to be in that events. The set size, that switch, is going to be in our looks. So once we have that, you are going to be using the option where it's going to be in control. We're going to use that forever button. So we have that forever. I'm going to move everything up just a little bit, okay? And we're also going to use that wait button. Now that wait button, I'm not going to place it inside that belly of forever yet because we do need to change that number. It's going to be 0.11. And you're going to take that and you're going to place that inside. I do see the chat running. Hold on one second. Let me find where it is. Okay, once we have that, and there is one more for that section, guys. The last one is going to be in our looks, and it's going to be next costume. And you're going to place that underneath. So guys, that is going to be for the first part of there. I'm just going to go back to our PowerPoint in a second. So pac-man has one more step that we're going to do, and then we are going to be able to continue with our food. So for this one is going to be a little bit more trickier for us to do, but I'm going to go nice and slow on this, okay? So for the next one, it is still going to be in our pac-man. We're going to be using that option where it says when I receive score. Okay, that is going to be when I receive. It is going to be in our area. It's going to be in our events area. Now, when we're using this one, we are going to be clicking down and we are going to be changing it to say new message, and we are going to write the word score. Once you are done writing that word score, we're going to press OK. So it's going to say when I receive score. All right, guys. So let's continue. We have that when I receive score. We need that change size by 1. It's going to be in our looks. It's going to say change size by 10. We're just going to change that to say change size by 1. I am going to try to make it a little bit smaller, guys, so you're able to see that. Remember, that's in looks. All right. For the next one, there is going to be another section. Now, remember, these are not being attached to the first one that we did or the second one that we did. This is all in that same area. For this one, it's going to be another when clicked, which is going to be in our events, and we're going to use that when clicked. So we have that when clicked option there, guys. You see how I just moved mine over? Let me just fix it. Let me readjust mine. All right. All right, we need that forever button. Now that forever button is in our control. You're going to take that and you're going to place that underneath. Once we have that, the next one, all 3 of them are going to be in the same section. Now for the next one, we're going to do if on edge bounce. Now that is going to I believe it is on our motion section. It's going to be if on edge bounce. Yes, it's towards the bottom. You're going to take that and place that inside. We also need our point towards mouse pointer. All in that same section, guys. And move 5 steps. Okay. Now, guys, these all are in your pac-man. That's all in your pac-man. So pac-man is done and complete, guys. We are going to be doing our food. Now, one of the things I just need from you guys, now I am switching back and forth from the PowerPoint. Do you guys want me to use that option where I keep switching back and forth, or do you guys prefer for me to just verbally say where the pieces are? It's up to you guys to let me know where you want me to put that. Let me just make sure because I see the chat. There should be, guys, yes, we are recording this video, so you should be able to go back to it at another time. Okay. So I'm going to continue, guys. We are going to be switching over now to our food, okay? Make sure you are clicked on your food. Now, my food is, all right, guys. So make sure you are clicked on your food particles. We are going to go to our first one. It is going to be our event section. It is going to be that when clicked. Once we have that, you are going to go to our motion. And it's going to be that go to X and Y. Now, we used these pieces before. The first one is going to be a positive 41. And your Y is also a positive 48. And you're going to take those two and you're going to place those together. Once we have it, this is the part where it's going to get a little bit more trickier. We are going to go to our variables. You are going to go to the section where it says make a variable. We're going to write the word score. Now, make sure it is clicked for all sprits, okay? Not for this sprit only. We want to make sure it's for all sprits, then press OK. Once you have that, we are going to use the one that says set my variable to 0, rename it to say score, and place that underneath. Now, if you guys notice on your game, you are going to have it say score, and it's going to have that number 0. Now, if you want to try to cheat your game, you can change that 0 to a different number, and you can make your points go faster. Once we have that set score to 0, guys, another important thing is, if it is not clicked on that word score, your score is not going to show on your game. You see how it disappears. So please also make sure when you are placing that, you also are going to hit that little arrow so it's shown into your game. How do we put that set score? Okay, you are going to go to that variable. You are going to hit the button where it says make a variable. You're going to write the word score. Make sure that it says for all spritz. Press that word OK. Then you're going to select the one that says set my variable. Hit that down button, find that word score, and then you're going to be able to place that all together. Once we have that, you guys are going to go to your look section. We are going to find the one that says set ghost effect to 100. It's going to say set color effect to 0. Just hit that word color, change that to say ghost. I'm going to have to remove mine 1 second, guys, because mine is not letting me click. I have that ghost, and we're also going to change this to say 100. I'm going to take it and place that underneath. Once we have that, all the next section is going to be all in the same area. It is going to be in that control. We're going to take that forever. We're also going to use the one that says create clone of myself, and we're also going to use that weight. Now that weight is going to be a 0.5. So get rid of that 1, and we're going to change it to 0.5 and place it underneath. Okay, so once we have all that, that's one part of it. Now there are 2 more sections on there. I know somebody said that they were having problems with their Wi-Fi. You should be able to catch up and add that in there. Another thing that you guys should do, if you have maybe, you guys can always screenshot these as well and then go back to it later on if you need to, okay? That is always another good option if you guys can do that as well, that you can have that just for later on if you need to go back. All right, so there is 2 more sections for this, and then it will be complete. So I'm just gonna move this over. Now for the next one, it is going to be in our events. It's going to be when I start as a clone. Let me see where that is now. I believe it should be in control. Yes. Okay, it's going to be in control, and it's going to be when I start as a clone. And you're also going to be in that same section, and it's going to be that forever button. Okay, so you have that control and that forever. Now this part, the next part is going to be a little bit tricky, but just make sure you are using the correct one for this. We are going to be using an if then. Now there are 2 if then options. There is one that says if then else. Don't select that one. Just make sure it is that if then. Okay, this part is going to get a little bit tricky for this one. Like I said, to add those pieces together. Now we are going to be adding a piece where that if then is, okay? So this is the part that gets a little bit tricky. Some students have a hard time with this. You are going to go to your sensing. Now we are going to use that option where it says touching mouse pointer, but instead of mouse pointer, it's going to say pac-man. Now if yours is not saying that pac-man, this is what you need to be able to change. Now remember in the beginning when we renamed our character spritz, okay? If you did not rename yours to say pac-man, that option is not going to be available for you. So that's why it's important in the beginning that you did need to rename it, okay? So if it isn't, just go to that pac-man option, just rename your sprit word, and then you're going to be able to include that in there so your code is correct. All right. So that part, like I said, can be a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't be anything for you guys not to be able to handle. Once we did that, we are going to go to our make a variable section. You are going to not be able to change anything for this one. We are going to use that change option. You're going to select that down option, and it's just going to say change score by 1 and place that underneath. Now, you should not have to change anything because we already put that word score included into your project. So that should be nice and easy for you. So once we have that, guys, you don't need to be clicked. Make sure you're still on the food one for this, okay? We have that change score by 1. Now for the next one, it is going to be in that control. No, it's not in control. It's in events. And it's going to be broadcast. Now it's going to say broadcast score, and you're going to place that underneath. Now also, guys, you don't need to rename anything. If it wasn't there, we would have to hit that new message. But since we already made a variable of that word score, we do not need to change it later on. So once we did that broadcast, there is one more section for there. It is going to be delete this clone. Now delete this clone, I believe it is going to be in our control, and it's the last one, and you're going to place it. Now, this is the part where it can also get a little bit tricky. You do need to make sure it is not on the bottom of the orange. It is touching inside that if area, and it's underneath that broadcast for it to be placed correctly, okay? So you do need to make sure it is in that right area. Otherwise, your code is going to be incorrect. Okay, so we have that. Now there is one more section, guys, for us to be able to complete our food as well as our game, okay? Now I'm gonna just adjust this, guys, for a second. I am gonna make it a little bit smaller so you guys are able to see the full view if you need to catch up. And then I'm gonna use this remaining bottom to be able to include that as well. You can make that option really big if you guys do. I like to make it big so you guys have a better view at it. Now the first one is going to be when I start as a clone, which is going to be in our control. Once we have that, you are going to be able to go to our looks, and you're going to use the one that says set ghost effect to 0. It's going to say, again, like before, it's going to say color. Just change that to say ghost and keep it at 0 and place that there. Once we have that, you are going to go back to our motion. You are going to use that point in direction. Now, don't place it just yet because there is going to be an operator where we're going to include as well. So we're going to go to that operators, and you're going to use that option where it says pick random. Place that in where that 90 was, and then we're just going to be able to change these numbers. Now, the first number is going to be a -23. And the second number is going to be a +45. Now, when I'm using the word positive, you do not need to have a plus sign in front of it. But when we are using that negative number, you do need to make sure that minus symbol is in front of it. Otherwise, it is going to be incorrect. Once we have that, you are going to use that Control Forever button. Okay, once we have that, nice and easy for that one. There is going to be only 2 more, and then your codes are going to be done and complete. The next one is going to be in our motion. It is going to be that move 10 steps. Now, don't place it in yet because we are also going to need another operators. We're going to use that operators pick random again. Place it there. Now I'm going to move this underneath so you guys have a better view, and we don't need to change anything. So actually we can just take that and place that underneath. That one was pretty easy and lucky that we didn't have to change anything. The last and final one is going to be if on edge bounce. Okay, if on edge bounce. And there it is. Now that completes everything. I am going to go back to our PowerPoint view just to make sure that I didn't miss anything, but that is going to be done and complete for your game to be able to start. So I do want to just make sure, 1, 2, 3, and good. Okay. So now I am going to go back to it just for a second. I just want to explain what the game is all about, okay? You are going to be challenging yourself by making a poisonous food sprit, okay? Which can also make you lose points, okay? So that's also another thing that you could do that in there. as well. Let me just go back. Okay. Now I'm going to move this option just so I have that there. Now my game is going to be able to go around, and it is able to collect your points. Now he is going to be able to use your mouse pointer to get your points in there and be able to collect those points, okay? There is going to be a point that he is going to be able to grow once his points are getting bigger, and you are going to notice there's going to be a certain point once the score gets too high, it is going to glitch. That means it's going to be moving around. It says, I don't see the option where it says when I start as a clone. Okay, that selection would be in your control section, all the way towards the bottom where it says when I start as a clone, okay? Okay, so when it's getting to the point of where it's glitching, that is when your game should end, okay? You should stop it and then redo it. What you could do is you can set yourself a mental note and say, okay, that was the highest score that I got. You can also, throughout the class, I'm going to be teaching you guys also how to add a timer in there as well. So you can also go back to that and add a timer in there later on when we get to that point. That you can add that in there, so you can also set a timer so it wouldn't glitch and you can make your game perfect, okay? So that's going to be something that you can also add in there. I'm not going to show you that option today. This is just basic level for you to be able to understand how to do it, but then later on you can always go back and add that option. Okay. Somebody else, Sarah said, okay, my time zone right now, I'm at 1:47. That's the time I'm at right now. So it's 1:47 where I am. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to show you guys one more time how to save it properly so you are able to go back to this at another time. So what you're going to do is, the first thing before you hit that file, you're going to notice that little square box. Right now, mine is saying 18 because I practiced a lot of projects in that. I am going to change this to say pac-man. Okay. You can change yours to be whatever you want yours to say. Okay. You can add whatever you want on there. And then you're going to hit that file save now. Don't hit that file new, because if you hit that file new, say goodbye to that project, okay? You don't want that to happen. You are going to hit that file save now, and your project is going to be saved as your pac-man. Now, if you don't want to rename and change your name, that is fine. You would always hit that file save and place that as well. You can also use that option where it says save as a copy, okay? You can also do that as well as if you were doing one version of the game and then you changed it and wanted to go back rather than keep going back and forth, you can do that as well as save it as a copy. I always do that file save now and do it. And what I always also do is I do go to my stuff area. So I'm able to make sure that my project did save, okay? So right now I do see that it did save. I will click it just to double check, okay? You can hit that flag and it can see that game happen. Or you can also, if you notice that that is not the way that you want it to go, you can also hit that see inside option where it is going to be able to give you all that code and it's going to allow you to be able to go to that area. Okay. Now also at this time, towards the end of our session, I always leave this option for you guys to be able to answer any questions that you guys had, any difficulties, okay? Because when we are going to be resuming tomorrow, if there is anything that I need to fix at this point, I can do that, okay? So guys, at this time, we have at least 5 more minutes, so I'm gonna ask if there is any more questions before we end our session. Okay, so if there is anything that you guys need, please ask at this time before we end our session. Okay, tomorrow, now for tomorrow, we are going to be doing 2 little small exercises that you guys are going to be using that rainbow pen effect that we're going to be able to use. And then you do have 1 project, okay, 1 big project that we are going to do. Now, if you do not have an account or you just came in late, please make sure that you are arriving at 12 o'clock when our session does start, okay? So you are not able to not lose out on what we're learning. And also please make sure that if you don't have an account at this time, create one and be ready for tomorrow. So we're able to change and keep everything in there. Okay. All right, guys. So I am going to do our stop shared screen in a second. Okay. On here. Last thing, but we will be tomorrow starting again at 12 o'clock. Okay. We will be stopping at 12, starting at 12 o'clock, and we will be ending at 1. Is there anything else on there, or we're okay? Looks like we're okay. Okay. So I am going to say goodbye for now, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so I'm going to say bye, guys.